Exhausted, underappreciated, overstressed. That's how I was feeling November 2003. 7.5 months pregnant with my second child, sitting in a freezing cold conference room in Connecticut, trying to close the biggest deal of my life. And did I mention I was pregnant? Yeah, it had been a really hard pregnancy. Not the pregnancy part, not the baby part really, but the work part. You see, I had this horrible boss who said, "You're my highest paid person. Why don't you switch groups before you have the baby so I don't have to pay for your maternity leave?" To which I said, "No, thank you." And he proceeded down a different path, trying to get rid of me for cost. Yes, it was as horrible as it sounds. And then, on the flip side, I had this mentor. One of those people who you meet and seems to care about other people way more than himself. And I was very lucky. And he had my back from day one. So I was young, and this was a humongous deal, but I had smarts and intelligence and drive and knew we were going to be successful. I got out there, I learned what my client needed, I met with them, I designed a great solution and had a fantastic team and put together a winning proposal. And I was excited about this deal. And then there was my boss, who on the day of the presentation showed up at the client site to put me on a performance improvement plan. Yeah, and so that was great. My mentor, though, was right there by my side. He got right up in my boss's face and called him out on his ridiculous accusations and assumptions. My boss stormed out. I cried, and my mentor gave me a hug and apologized and said no one should have to go through something like that. It was a profound day. I picked myself back up, dusted myself off, and went in and gave the presentation. And we won the deal. And oh, by the way, a year later, I was awarded Salesperson of the Year. So that situation had a profound impact on me. It got me really thinking about who do I want to be as a leader, and how do I want to impact people's lives? And knowing that as a leader, you can either help people rise up or push them down. So what kind of person did I want to be as a leader? Throughout my life, I had found myself in leadership positions many times. I like that. I like the sense of being able to help people thrive and help people live up to their full potential. It really is one of the things that drives me. All the way back from the days of high school where a sophomore joined the varsity basketball team and kind of tucking her under my wing to give her the confidence to get out there and be the varsity starting point guard, to recently climbing a 14er here in Colorado in brutal conditions with some friends and dragging them to the top of the mountain when they wanted to stop just short of the peak. I want people to achieve their goals. I want to help people achieve their goals. And as I move up through my career, I'm realizing I have a platform to do that. I have a platform to stop climbing and start lifting and help people do that. So flash forward to today. Recently, I was just promoted and am now in the top 0.2% of my 500,000 global consulting firm. I am one of the senior-most women in the organization, and I run a sales organization responsible for $1.5 billion. It's a lot. It's a lot of pressure, but I love it, and I thrive on it, and I have an amazing team working with me that I so love and enjoy. And it got me thinking, what's next for me, right? And I really want to stop climbing and start lifting and realize now it's time for me to focus on the next generation of leadership and spending my time helping them move up through their careers. So I started doing some research and trying to understand really what has helped other female leaders succeed. How have they been able to be successful? I started interviewing them, talking to them about their journeys and their experiences. Had a lot of really interesting stories. You thought mine was bad. That was nothing compared to some of the things I heard. But one that really stuck with me was this woman in Texas said, "Honey, it's not the fish, it's the aquarium." And that was an interesting one to me, right? As leaders, we don't have the ability to change all the fish, but we do have an opportunity to help the aquarium. How can we help make the environment more friendly and conducive for future female leaders? How can we, as this generation of leaders, help them have a path that's not so hard? And the path in corporate America is absolutely difficult. And I think it's more difficult for women. And does it really need to be this difficult? What can we do as everyone in the ecosystem supporting them to make that path a little less difficult? Now, I think back to what my mentor was doing and how he was always constantly encouraging me and supporting me and having my back. And I started thinking about the personality that I was trying to emulate as well as a leader. And I think it really boils down, it's a million things, but 3 things that I want to focus on today. Creating trust and trusted relationships, enabling a vision, and being fearless. So let's start with that first one, creating trust and trusted relationships. Harvard Business Review says, as your power increases, your trustability decreases. And I'm conscious of that in my actions. I recognize that it's important for me to let my teams hear me supporting them, to let them hear me having their back, talking about them positively, making sure that they know I've got the support of them. And when I think about how that has impacted me, my mentor always made me feel like he had my back, and I trusted him implicitly. And that was really a 2-way street of trust. And when you think about trusted relationships, I don't think it's a 1-to-1 equation. You've heard people talk about the tribe today, and I firmly believe that that exists in the corporate environment as well. You need to build your own tribe. And yes, I've built my own tribe. In my tribe are the senior folks above me and the people who've mentored and sponsored me, and all the people I mentor and sponsor as well. We stick together, we have each other's backs, and we get out there and keep increasing the tribe. I think as a leader, one of the most important things you can do is keep increasing the size of your tribe. The more people who feel like they have your back, the better, right? The second thing is enabling vision. So Walter Dennis is a USC professor, and he said leadership is the capacity to translate vision into execution. And that's pretty powerful. As you think about what it takes to execute and translate that vision to folks as you move up through the ranks, understanding that your role is important, but that it plays a critical part in a much bigger picture, in a much bigger landscape. Our job as leaders is to help them understand that and to validate their role and help them understand why there is so much value in what they're doing and how those tasks fit into the whole ecosystem. And constantly being a learner, demonstrating that learning is important. And if you want to stay a leader, you damn well better keep learning because everything is moving really quickly. Getting out there and being seen as an information curator, finding the important information and sharing that with other leaders. Carla Harris of Morgan Stanley said, a key sign of a leader is when they can transition from execution to empowerment. And for all you type A's out there, that is a very hard thing to do, right? But we have to do it, and we need to keep doing it. There was a situation recently where we had a big meeting to our own internal executive team. And I thought about it, should I go do that meeting? And decided to let one of the women on my team do it, and got her prepped, had her content excellent. She went in there and killed it. And I was so proud of her, and it really contributed to the spirit of our team and the support we have for each other. We always have each other's backs. The third thing is being fearless. We have to be fearless out there. It is a tough, tough universe. You need to stand up for injustice when you see it. You need to call out bad behavior and recognize and stand up to the bullies that we see each day. My last job, I realized as the promotions were all coming through for approval, it was all men. I said, why is that? There have to be some qualified women for some of these roles. Well, I realized everyone's just getting promoted through. So instilled a policy where for every promotion, 4 people had to be considered. And of those 4, one of them had to be a woman or a diverse candidate. Now, I'm always advocating that you hire or promote the most qualified and best person. But if we don't start changing our behavior to at least be considering someone who may not be the loudest voice in the room, how are those people going to move up? And you may not get that job, but you may be now getting attention for a job in the future, and that's really critical. And the other thing is asking for promotions, right? We have to get out there and do that. Be fearless, ask for it. Men tend to apply for jobs when they have 5 of the 10 skills required. Women wait till they have 9 of the 10. We've got to get more bold, ladies. I got bold. Last year I got bold. I reached really high for a promotion. I knew I wasn't going to get it, but I figured I'd throw my hat in the ring. And the leaders called me and said, you didn't get it, but you demonstrated that you wanted it. And through the process, you got out there, you talked to other leaders in the space, and now their perception of you has changed. And you'll be considered for other promotions down the road. So no surprise to folks here, right? 7% of the Fortune 500 CEOs are women. That number is increasing, but at the rate we're at right now, it'll take 200 years for parity. So I don't want to spend my time on that, or I want to accomplish something that I can change in my lifetime. So I'm really focused on empowering this next generation of leadership to help the people underneath them keep rising up, so that more women will make the slate of people being considered for those promotions. Sheryl Sandberg's Leaned In was 10 years ago, which is just amazing to me. And I think back on that book. I loved that book. I thought it was powerful. I felt her messages made me feel so validated for the leader I wanted to be, for all the things I wanted to accomplish in this space. I got up there, I leaned in, I got my seat at the table, I asked for the promotions, and it worked. And I've had a great career. But now as I look at what's ahead, and what is ahead for all the women like me who took her advice and kept moving, and I feel it is incumbent upon us to start intentionally lifting up that next generation and focusing on the things that are important. Helping them with intention, providing an ecosystem of support, friendship, and love to allow them to advance. Now, I love all the things my mentor did for me. He was amazing, and I wouldn't be here without him. So my ask to the audience and everyone is to keep going out and being that person and being that support network for future leaders and future women. I feel it's incumbent on us to do that, and it is not something we get to choose, but something we must do. So please join me. Yes, we can, and yes, we must. Thank you.